on the vol front this week, listeners. In previous weeks, we've been biased mostly to the upside or to the downside. This week, we're, again, kind of all over the place. We'll kick it off in the ags. Going to kick it off in the ag products this week. 1919 is their CVOL, off about 0.12 today. And again, kind of hanging out in the middle of their range. The low is 1881, the high 1949. So no clear direction for ag vol this week. Treasury price vol. We were talking about this last week, just kind of epic moves in vol last week, including in the treasuries. We don't see that too often. Just a tick shy of an 8 right now, 7.98, which in and of itself, if you know anything about treasury price vol, it's usually hanging out at a 6 or below. So at an 8 already, it's lofty, coming down about almost a quarter of a point just today. So that's a big move in treasury price vol. And on the week, it's had a heck of a range, 770 to the downside, 8.84 to the upside. So hanging out near the lower end of its range, but again, a big range for treasury price vol this week. And again, not surprising. We have a trade war going on. We have a battle between the White House and the Fed talking about rate cuts now. So going to be some action in the treasuries as a result. Below that, we have the energy aggregate CVOL, 59.22 today, off a little over a third of a point today. On the week, it's had a pretty wild range as well, 57.87 to the downside, 60.51 to the upside. So hanging out towards the middle of that range as well. Below it, we go to the land of FX, which again, usually pretty sleepy, hanging out right now at 11 and a third. That may sound like a lot, but it's off over a half a point just today, off 0.53 just today. So FX vol, at least for today, coming crashing back to earth. But that's not the low for the week. It hit a 10.8 earlier this week. The high 13.03. So almost 2.25 point range on the week for FX vol. We don't see that very often, listeners. Again, wild times in these markets. Be careful what you're up to out there. Below that, we have the aggregate commodities CVOL, 40.1, off 1.25 points. Just today, the range on the week, 38.82 to the downside, 41.35 to the upside. And then below that, we have the aggregate metals CVOL, where Uncle Mike likes to hang out, 25.52 today, off nearly 3 points. Just today, 2.9 points coming off the top just today. And you know what? That's not even the low for the week either. The low was 24.58, the high 28.42. Nearly a 4-point range on the week here, listeners, for aggregate metals vol. Again, we don't see that too often, but just look at gold this week. Rallying, fell out of bed yesterday, was still up for the week. That shows how much it rallied earlier this week. Just wild times, reflecting that in the vol on the metals front. And at the bottom of our list this week, it's the Treasury yield vol, always the biggest number on our list, 142.55 today, off 4 2/3 points just today. On the range for the week, the low of 138.95 and a high of 157.62. So not quite 20 points there, listeners, for the Treasury yield vol. Again, a wild week. Nothing is pinning the needle really in any direction. They're all kind of vacillating near the middle.